Hello and welcome to the Stormwater Construction General Permit System how-to video. In this video we're going to go over how to enter and submit a transfer of ownership. So we're going to continue to use the permit that we've been using as an example, which was J021. The first thing you want to do is just make sure that there's nothing pending for this permit record already. So if this modification hadn't already been issued, if it was still in progress, we would want to finish that up before we begin a transfer of ownership. Also, just make sure there are not any pending fees or anything like that that needs to be closed out before you begin a new record. So you always want to go with the active record. So we're going to click on that and go from there. And then from there, in order to begin the transfer of ownership, we'll go all the way down to the bottom like we did with a modification and just hit begin transfer. It's going to ask you, are you sure you want to do that? Just say yes, and it'll let you know that the transfer has been initiated. And then again, before we get started on entering this data, I'm going to go back to the permit record and show that now that we've initiated the transfer of ownership, there's a new entry right here for transfer in progress. So that's what we're going to go to if we want to edit any of the data associated with the transfer. So now we have a couple of fields open to edit. I'm going to go ahead and edit these and just pause for a second so you don't have to sit here and listen to me type. But I did want to show you that I'm just going to take all of the data from this transfer of ownership agreement, so the operator, contact information, all of that good stuff, and just insert it right in here. Before I do that, again, just like if we're beginning a brand new transfer of ownership, we want to check and make sure that the operator is a valid business entity or one of the operators or owners listed on the instruction page of the registration statement. So in this case, our operator is going to be Capital Construction LLC, and I actually made that up, so I'm not sure if it's in the business entity SEC file. However, in a real scenario, you would want to come to the SEC file website here, or if it's in another state, say South Carolina, search that database as well. So you would just perform a search down here, make sure that it's active, there are no pending transactions with SEC. So now we'll go ahead and just enter all this information. Okay, so once the information is all entered here, you can go ahead and scroll down, make sure you have an application received date and complete date. Hit save just in case there's anything that you've entered recently that hadn't been saved. And then again, just hit submit transfer. If you're not ready to hit submit transfer, or for whatever reason you decide not to do the transfer of ownership or the record needs to be deleted, this is your last opportunity to go ahead and hit delete, and that just deletes the entry for a transfer of ownership. And at this point, the permit status is still a transfer in progress in application until we hit submit transfer. Once you hit submit transfer, DEQ will receive it for final review. Both of the operators on the transfer application page will receive an email, both for a fee if one is applicable, as well as the VSMP authority will receive an email notification that the transfer has been submitted and that DEQ is reviewing it for approval. So go ahead and hit submit transfer when you are ready. It will let you know if there are any errors. If not, you can hit submit transfer request, and it'll tell you that it's been successful. And this is the point that DEQ receives it for final approval. DEQ will then go in, review it, make sure everything looks good, and then we'll enter the application approved date. And at this point, the application has been submitted, so it'll let you know down here. And then DEQ will enter that date and hit save. and that is the final approval for the transfer of ownership. And again, an email notification will be sent approving of the transfer of ownership, both to the two operators, the original operator, as well as the new operator, and the VSMP authority. And so then we can go back and look up that permit again and see that the transfer has been issued, and now that's the most recent entry, and it's now active. And the other two, both the modification and the original permit that we have issued, are in history.